Oakland is a City of Atlanta park. It's a historic site. It's a green space. It's an arboretum, and people can walk in through any one of the three gates, and there's no admission charge, and you can just explore at your leisure. And we do have a visitor center with lots of information and books and maps, and our website has all of that too. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the special things about Oakland is just strolling those pathways and getting lost sometimes and just stumbling upon stories and headstones and monuments that make you think about where we've come from and the pride and the prejudice and how that shaped the elaborate, big, large, expansive city that we live in today. Isn't it wild to think about the 175 years since Moses Formwalt was the saloon owner was really the mayor of this frontier town, and back then it was a couple of thousand people, and Oakland Cemetery was out in the country, I think, back then, and obviously today we're in the heart of the city, and as you said, with 27 mayors and 6 governors, some U.S. senators, Oakland has a great, rich political history, and I think that's one of the fun lenses with which to see our history, and that goes all the way from our first mayor, Moses Formwalt, as you said, whose monument is right there near the bell tower, to Mayor Ivan Allen, Maynard Jackson, the city's first Black mayor, and even recently, in 2022, the city's first Jewish mayor, Sam Mazel, was buried at Oakland as well. And so, that history is ongoing. And even though we don't have many burials today, we still have a few. And that's part of Oakland's history. But, governors, senators, civic leaders, the people that built this city, are all buried at Oakland. Oakland Cemetery was founded in 1850 and was well kept for a while, and then as families moved away and there was sort of systemic underinvestment in the city, Oakland, like many of the neighborhoods around it, fell into pretty rough shape in the mid 20th century, and we know about white flight to the suburbs and all those sort of larger things that were going on. And in the 1970s, a group of history lovers and preservationists and families of those buried at Oakland banded together to sort of draw attention back to Oakland Cemetery. And Franklin Garrett was one of those instrumental early founders in that work. And, up until his passing, was a great advocate of Atlanta history and but also of Oakland Cemetery and all of the rich, complex, diverse stories that are there. It's really very, very striking for anyone visiting Oakland to realize that segregation, and we're so used to seeing images of segregated water fountains or entrances to movie theaters, but to know that segregation continued into death, and Oakland was a segregated burial ground until the 1960s, and today the 3.2-acre historic African American burial grounds is the final resting place of over 12,000 of the city's founders, Black founders. And what's striking is, as you said, there are many people buried in that section who were born enslaved, who had changed and shaped our city in profound ways, and often are left out of the storybooks and the history books. And that's everybody from oh my gosh, the names are countless, but Marie Woolfolk Taylor, who founded the AKA sorority, Carrie Steele Logan, who founded the first Black orphanage in the country. The list is Bishop Wesley John Gaines, who founded Morris Brown College in the basement of Big Bethel Church, Bishop Qualls from Friendship Baptist Church. You name it, the city's preeminent Black institutions are sort of represented at Oakland. And it's really a sort of a great insight into the city's history and how it's evolved that Oakland is the way it is today. Of course, Coca-Cola is a huge part of our city, and many people know the names of Robert Woodruff and Asa Candler, and sort of the people that made Coca-Cola that great global brand, that spread throughout the 20th century across the globe. But right there at near the southern wall along Memorial Drive in the Jewish Hill section of Oakland Cemetery stands the mausoleum of Joe Jacobs, who was really right there at the beginning, with the founding of that product that became a global sensation and continues to shape our city today. Anyone that spent any time in Oakland probably knows the bell tower, that iconic big white Romanesque revival building in the middle of the cemetery. And it is a incredible building, built in 1899 as the home of the sexton, who is the City of Atlanta employee who oversees all the burials, but also manages the cemetery. And we still have a sexton today. My friend Sam Reed, who's been with Oakland for 24 years. And that building has had many lives, always as the home of the sexton, the office of the sexton, but also mourning chapels, receiving vaults. And then since the 1970s, it has also served as the office of Historic Oakland Foundation, which is the nonprofit 501c3 organization that I run that does a lot of the preservation and tours and fundraising in Oakland. And it served as our public restrooms, our gift shop, our storage, you name it. If you ever went in there, it served many, many purposes. But over its 120 plus years of life, it was heavily taxed. And especially in the last 10 years, as Historic Oakland Foundation has done more and more work at Oakland and has gotten bigger, we really pushed that building to the limits. And so we just completed a rehabilitation, an almost a $2 million project, with great support from Invest Atlanta, but also the Imlay Foundation and other private donors, to really give it its new lease of life. And what we wanted to do was make the building more accessible to the public. So it is open to the public, and you can come in and use the restroom. And we have a really neat little exhibit about the history of the building and the people that work there that we partnered on with some students from Kennesaw State University. But also the building is rentable for lunches and meetings and birthdays and weddings and you name it. We've opened up the porches as similar to how they originally were in 1899 when the building was built. And we've really added an elevator and just tried to make the building much more accessible so that more people can enjoy those incredible views that you mentioned. And it's a building that we've loved and enjoyed for many years, and now everybody gets to enjoy it. And I'll note that while Oakland is an active cemetery, we actually have more weddings than funerals now. So if anybody's interested in perhaps the most distinct and unique event space in this city, they should go to oaklandcemetery.com, because we think those views of the skyline and those views of the cemetery are like you said, some of the very best in this city. And like I said, we have 10 to 20 burials a year, and in some cases it's families who've owned their graves for 100 plus years, and in other cases it's folk who get onto the wait list and buy a plot from someone selling, and those kind of private transactions, who want to be buried at Oakland. But it's interesting because there are those that don't know that Oakland's an active cemetery, and then there are others who don't know it's a City of Atlanta park and a historic site. And that's part of the special challenge and charm of Oakland is balancing all of those competing interests, which we like to think we do quite well, but certainly always know that the families of people buried at Oakland are our most important stakeholders and constituents as well. And the new Oakland Cemetery Visitor Center is it's really our biggest, largest, most exciting project today, and it's really the capstone of our first ever capital campaign, Live in History. And we are breaking ground here in 2023, and we anticipate it's a it's a 15, 18 month project, but we also know those construction timetables slide a little bit. But yeah, it's a 10,000 square foot facility that will have a gift shop. It'll have a big ballroom that can be used for events and classes and meetings, as well as offices for Historic Oakland Foundation and some conference rooms and some atrium space. But to me, what's so exciting is not just the building and what that's going to allow us to do in terms of expanding our programming, but the whole site around it. And we're turning almost 2 acres of asphalt into parkland. There'll be an event lawn, a woodland trail, bioretention gardens that will divert over 1 million gallons of water a year out of the municipal system. The building's going to have solar panels, and a whole bunch of other sort of sustainably focused initiatives in it. We've even been sort of salvaging some materials from around town to use in the project, to sort of really think about sustainability in thoughtful ways with the project. But to me, what's so exciting about this is a community facility. This is something that is there for people to use, whether it's neighborhood associations or community groups. And I would love it if in a couple of years we were talking about the local farmers market that was there, or free yoga, or, in addition to all of the great programming we do inside Oakland, we want this to be an asset for the community. Oakland is something that is for all Atlantans. It is truly something special for our city, and we want to continue to find ways to do that. So you'll see us starting to work on that building here. And, architecturally, we've been working with Smith Dahlia and trying to honor the brick as our sort of primary material, and, honoring that brick feature of Oakland, which you see in the walkways and the walls, and so much around the 48 acres, but then also bring in a modern focus with some big glass windows that sort of pull people in and make it inviting. And it's certainly an exciting project, and there's a great plaza outside the building between the gates where it's really going to be a place where people meet and start their Oakland experience. And we're just excited to have reached this moment and be able to find new ways to serve all of the people that love Oakland Cemetery.